This is the Outlap F1 podcast featuring America's own Cody, Andy, and Deanna. Your one-stop shop for Formula One news, insights, race previews, and reviews. Join us on the Outlap. All right, I've spent the last 10 minutes trying to remember where all the buttons are. It's been a month. It's been a hot minute, but we are back. Formula One is back. Thank the maker. We have missed you, our F1 obsession. You have found the Outlap F1 podcast. You've got Andy. I'm along with Cody tonight, and we have a Grand Prix to talk about. So it's time to get excited. Mr. Cody, how's it hanging, my good friend?
It's going pretty well. Just taking life as it comes. And honestly, after like that second weekend off, I was complaining to my wife, being like, when is the Formula One coming back? I miss it so much. And yes, now it is back. I am ready and excited. And at least we get one probably fun track before we go to Monza and we get really, really sad about these regs again. So trying to take it as a positive.
Yes, I think this track will look more like the Formula One we know, love, and want to keep and cherish. And then after that, it's we're gonna have to just bear it and get through that weekend. But like I keep telling everybody, you've already won the argument. If you hate these regulations, congratulations, you've won. They're going away
Yes.
from them. They've already got the plans to do this in the next couple of years. And they're going to take these power units and throw them in the bin as soon as the manufacturers and the contracts allow them to. So you've already won the argument. So let's just focus on the here and now. If you have found our show, welcome along. It's the 2026 Dutch GP preview show. You can find us on X, Instagram, Discord, Reddit, and of course, here on YouTube. At Outlap F1 Podcast is the handle for all that. If you like what you're seeing and you enjoy what we're talking about, do us a solid click the like and subscribe button on YouTube. If you're on your favorite podcasting app and just enjoying the audio, a 5-star review on that favorite podcasting app will help us out tremendously. You can email the show, outlapf1@gmail.com. Thank you so much to Outlap F1 Nation who continue to support our efforts. You guys all know these names by now, but thank you so much to Dean Warwick, Yuri Dolchester, Paul Weaver, Quentin Warden, Kevin Kelly, Regan Stanzik, Timothy Brown, Jonathan Scott, Rachel Fleming, Dave Doherty, and Brandon Bowler. If you'd like to join that esteemed list, we are in the midst of the European season, so you can go to our link. It's called buymeacoffee.com/outlapf1. If you'd like to leave a monetary donation, we would be ever so thankful if you'd like to do that. We'll add your name to our Hall of Fame there and shout you out at the beginning of every episode. It is going to be in a link in all our show notes, whether YouTube or podcasting apps. It will be there. It's buymeacoffee.com/outlapf1. All right. Well, we had a bit of a news dearth, I would say, for the first couple weeks. There really wasn't much out. We didn't have the famous Oscar Piastri at the beginning of it. Somebody said something and I'm not racing for you and chaos and all that we thought we might have. No, that didn't happen. But we did have some things that happened over the break. Probably the biggest story over the course of the break was the fact that Graham Loudon at Cadillac is out. Marcin Budkowski comes in to replace him as the Cadillac team principal. Wow, this one was a bit of a shocker. Did not see this one coming. Cadillac, obviously, first year in the sport, struggling a bit at the back. Car not necessarily keeping together, but we were all kind of giving them the it's the first year grain of salt. Not so, says Dan Tauris. He is here to win and wants to win as soon as possible. So he's making a move, and we will see what this does to the Cadillac F1 team's dynamic. Cody, big thoughts on this?
I think it's a little crazy in a way because it's like this guy, Graham Loudon, I guess, has been a pretty important figure in, getting the Cadillac F1 team off the ground and going and ready to be an F1 over the last couple of years. And, now that you've actually got that thing going, you're going to not even let him see out the end of the first season. I think that's a little bit of a bold move. And like you said, they're running at the back, but we all expected them to be running at the back because they're a brand new team and they're still figuring everything out. So uh, moving on to someone else, I guess, is an idea. But I guess Bukowski also is pretty well tenured in the F1 world. He's worked for a bunch of different teams. He was the executive director at Alpine up until a few years ago. He worked a little bit at the FIA, so he's definitely gotten around, knows his way around the paddock. So I'm sure he will be a good fit for the team principal role. I just do feel bad for Graham Loudon for not being able to see out the first season of the team.
Yeah, I mean, I had a chance over the course of the past weekend. Our friends at Speed City who do the national broadcast that I sometimes talk to, they had some extended sound with both Graham Loudon and Dan Taurus, who sat down with Chris Medland, who is one of the best and highly connected F1 journalists that are out there. Um, and you could kind of see when you listen to Taurus's interviews, particularly, that he's on a different timeline. I think what happened, and this is me speculating, I don't know anything for sure, but just connecting the dots from those interviews, and you should go check them out if you'd like to I'm sure they have them on their YouTube pages and stuff like that. You could just go to last week's weekly show of theirs. Um, but what came across to me was I think Graham Loudon laid out like a 4 or 5 year plan, which in most F1 circles probably sounds reasonable. And Dan Taurus wasn't having it. He's probably wants to be a lot more competitive than when they are in 2 to 3 years. And I think Graham Loudon kind of told him that this was probably an impossibility, and therefore he got shown the door. That's what it sounds like, because Dan Taurus is all about innovation, new ways of thinking, all this other stuff. And Graham Loudon comes from a very traditional F1 background where, what works, works. What's tried and true is tried and true. And look, I mean, it took McLaren 5 years to come back from the depths of 2015 to maybe being, to winning races in 2020 in the COVID year. That's how long it legit took. And even that was a flash in the pad, across a couple of different rule sets. So I do think that this is kind of US CEO trying to impose his will on a European sport. We're going to see whether or not it works. I don't know that I liked it. I felt bad for Graham because, I mean, you only gave him half a season, and yeah, it's just it's tough. And this is the Piranha Club, and welcome to it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, good luck, Marcin Budkowski. Let's see what you bring to the table. I mean, going to be an interesting first press conference come Thursday, especially if I'm imagining he's going to feature prevalently.
Yes.
All right. Well, all right. That was your team principal movement. And then we got a whole buttload of news dropped today, this morning, actually, between
yes.
7 and 9 a.m. local time. My phone kept blowing up. We got Williams drivers, both of them. This was a surprise to me. Both drivers. I got the Albon one. The Sainz one floored me. Alex Albon gets a 1-year extension to stay with Williams through 2027. I think that makes sense. Williams and Albon have always been on pretty good terms. Carlos Sainz then agrees. As much as complaining as he's done, he goes back and says he wants to be part of this project. He re-ups with Williams on a multi-year deal. So the rumors of Williams potentially coming apart at the seams, apparently not so much, at least internally. We're looking at a team that, again, if you go back to the beginning of the year, I said this was a team to watch. And in my opinion, I think they have grossly underperformed, given the talent that they've acquired there and the effort that they put into this car. And the fact that they said they don't think they're going to fix this car this year. It's going to take till next year before they can really get to the bottom of things. I guess James Vowles is a hell of a negotiator, because to get Carlos Sainz to come back, guys in the later stages of his career, re-ups on a multi-year deal, guy who wants to win races and get to the top, or back to the top pretty quickly. This is big news for Williams. It's got to be a win for the team. Cody, what's your thought?
Definitely a win for Williams. I agree with you that the Albon on a 1 extra year thing makes sense. He's been there for several years. He's kind of helped get the team to where it was last year. I won't say now because, they're not looking so good at the moment. but he's also had, some ups and downs in his performance. Uh, we have seen Carlos Sainz come into the team and pretty quickly be competitive against Albon. So, giving him another year to see how things go makes sense to me. I do agree that the Sainz thing on a multi-year contract, I guess, really shows that they want to keep him around and that they have faith in his ability. And we know Sainz is a really good driver. I think part of why Carlos jumped on doing this is because it's like, where else is he really going to go in the next few years? He's, you know, probably not going to go to Red Bull, probably not going to go to McLaren or Mercedes or Ferrari. So he doesn't have an in back to like one of the top teams right now. And, so therefore he's not going back to V-Carb. And, what else is there other than that besides Williams? You take a chance on Haas or Aston Martin, provided Alonso retires in the next 10 years. It's really the best place for him to stay right now if he wants to stay in the sport for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, I do totally buy the argument that, there's not a whole lot of better options. I mean, a lot of where the rumor mill was saying he was going to jump ship and go to Audi. But apparently he doesn't want to go from one potential startup project to yet another one. So I think at the end of the day, he probably came to the same conclusion that you reached there and said, look, I've been in this. I know what I think I'm getting. Everyone is telling me we think we've solved what the problem was. We've identified the problem and we're working to solve it. It's just going to take time. But the hope is that he can remain patient enough and not blow up in the middle of the rebuild for Williams. So, but I think it's a win for the team. It takes a lot of pressure off of a guy like James Vowles, who's clearly feeling it at this stage. Like, if you would have told me which team principal I thought was going to get axed, I might have had James Vowles at the top of the list going into the summer break. I hate to say it, but yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, a solid thing. It relieves a lot of pressure. They can all just get focused on what they're going to do, and let's go to engineering school and let's figure it out. I think is the team sentiment there. All right, the other bit of breaking news that affects some drivers, not for next year, but affects them this weekend. Isaac Hadjar decided to do some off season training. Apparently, tried to do some boxing sparring and went ahead and broke his wrist. So he is out. And that means now your Red Bull dominoes are in full force because Hadjar will not be racing this weekend. Liam Lawson gets the call up back into the Red Bull seat. Hello, how you doing? We've come full circle. He gets half of his F1 career back at Red Bull for this weekend. That's his prize. And then stepping into Lawson's seat into the V-Carb is Yuki Tsunoda coming back out of the reserve role. Big dominoes shifting, big opportunity you'd have to think for Liam Lawson. Cody, what's your take?
I did not have Yuki Tsunoda back in Formula One on my bingo card for this year. So yeah, big surprise. Obviously, it's a situation that necessitates that. I do feel bad for Hadjar. Maybe don't do training that could injure your hands or your feet, which are kind of your among most important parts as a driver. You could probably break ribs and drive if you really wanted to.
Hell, Joseph Newgarden did it with a broken ankle for 4 weeks in IndyCar.
Carlos Sainz has shown you can come back from surgery and jump in and win races, but like you kind of need your hands and your wrists to work for steering the car. So yeah, he's got to recover from that. Unfortunately, it is a fracture. There's going to be a little bit of recovery time associated with that. But it does open some opportunities. And now it was funny this morning when I saw that story, it didn't say anything about the fracture or anything right away. It just said Hadjar out, Lawson in at Red Bull, obviously like a headline grabber, get you in there. And I was like sitting there going, God, he's been doing like, all right, surely they haven't been that ruthless.
Helmut Marko's gone. What the hell happened?
Yeah. I do think, though, it is a good opportunity for Lawson to try to show that he's improved. He's still got it. He gets to try it with, hopefully a little bit of an easier car to drive this time. Hadjar's been pretty consistent, but he has been more often than not right around that, 6th, 7th, 8th place, kind of at the back of those top 4 teams. So if Lawson can at least do that, I think they'll be pretty satisfied with what they're seeing. And if he can, somehow do better than that, I think he'd be really making a case for himself to stay in the Red Bull family until further notice, because as we all know, there's, uh, man, I am drawing a big fat blank on his name at the moment. Their star in F2 right now, who's leading the championship
Oh,
from
hell.
Bulgaria. It's rattling around in there. He's really good, and there's only 4 seats that Red Bull has control over. So if they want to get him in there, Nick Solov,
Oh,
yeah,
yes, Nicholas Solov.
yeah, he's really good, and I've got a feeling that if he wins the F2 championship this year, they're gonna really be feeling like they want to put him in an F1 seat, and Max, unless Max decides to go to greener pastures, he's not going anywhere. So you got 3 drivers that you would have to consider kicking out, and you've only given a very small chance to all of them, really. So it's like, who do you get rid of? So Lawson, at this point, he really, really needs to show what he can do and, what is supposed to be a top running car, because if he happens to be the guy that gets kicked to the curb for Solov, he's got to have a good enough resume to get in at another team.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost an embarrassment of riches happening at Red Bull, at least in terms of young drivers. Young,
Mm.
unproven drivers at that is kind of the
Yes.
problem. So yeah, I mean, Yuki Tsunoda being the reserve is the natural choice to go in there. I don't think Solov has the super license points to be able to sit in an F1 car, so they can't just do that. So you have to have certain conditions met. It is the first weekend back from the break. It's also a sprint weekend. So if you're Red Bull, you kind of want somebody who understands all the procedures and policies and all the other good stuff. So Yuki Tsunoda, coming back into VCARB makes sense. And Liam Lawson coming back, I think, to Red Bull makes sense if you're stuck with this situation. It's obviously not ideal. Big opportunity, big spotlight on Lawson. If he can come home and he's 6th or better, I think you got to call that a really successful weekend for him.
Mm-hmm.
Tsunoda, I don't think anybody's really looking at him seriously to get back into F1. Obviously, he's going to try to show really well. The hot rumor I hear is that he may be US bound for IndyCar, in which case his personality is going to fit right on in with all the cussing and the swearing and all that stuff. Boy, you found a home right here. So come on over. So yeah, I think it's good. It's kind of fascinating. It kind of reminds me of when, like, all of a sudden, boom, there's Daniel Ricciardo back, or Daniel Ricciardo broke his hand here at this exact track and had the same kind of situation happen a couple of years ago. So lots of things to follow. What are the ripples of this? Does it somehow hurt Hadjar? Does he have to stay out a second week? Then the moves and the counter moves become very, very fascinating, and it's something for sure we will watch and react to. All right. Well, like I said, we had tons of news break early this morning, and now it's time at long last to get back into a proper track facts brought to us by Pirelli Motorsport. So last time we're going to talk about Zandvoort for a little bit. Unfortunately, I am very sorry to see it go. I was always pleasantly surprised by how well this track worked. So Cody, tell us about that circuit, Zandvoort.
Yes, I'm personally going to miss those big banked turns. But yes, this weekend, Formula One heads to the Netherlands to race on the beaches of Zandvoort. Dutch Grand Prix is located, the Dutch Grand Prix is going to be raced around the Circuit Zandvoort, located in North Holland in the Netherlands. Number of laps for the Grand Prix is 72, and the length of the circuit is 2.65 miles. It's 4.259 kilometers. And the tire selection from Pirelli is going to be the same as last year, C2, C3, and C4 tire compounds. And the track characteristics have not changed at all from last year either. So not too much changing with this track over time. We're looking at a 3 out of 5 for traction, 3 out of 5 for braking, 4 out of 5 for lateral load, a 5 out of 5 for tire stress, 4 out of 5 for track evolution, 3 out of 5 for asphalt grip, and a 3 out of 5 for asphalt abrasion. The qualifying lap record under the current configuration of the circuit was set just last year by Oscar Piastri with a 1 minute, 8 seconds, .662. The race lap record, though, you have to go a couple of years further back to 2021, where that was set by Lewis Hamilton with a 1 minute 11.097 seconds. Now, most wins here, we're looking at all races for the Dutch Grand Prix, and we have some really big, famous names from Formula One here at the top of this list. Most wins in the Netherlands is going to go to Jim Clark with 4 wins, and then a three-way tie with 3 wins apiece between Jackie Stewart, Niki Lauda, and Max Verstappen, all top F1 company there. And then third place, we're only looking at 1 win here for third place, so there's a lot of drivers that have made it, but most recently, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are in the 1-win club here. Most constructor wins is going to be Ferrari with 9, followed by Lotus, the old Lotus, with 6. McLaren just notched up to 5 as of last year, and Red Bull has 3 wins here. What's the circuit liking?
All right. It is, quote, really quick, pretty insane, crazy, and old school. Those were words used by the current crop of F1 drivers when asked to describe the Zandvoort track that many of them tackled in their junior category days. We'd also add undulating to that list. The Zandvoort track swoops and flows through the sand dunes, creating a roller coaster-like feel to the lap. And while the circuit was modernized in time for F1's most recent return, including increasing the banking angle at the famous Tarzan corner to an Indianapolis Motor Speedway trumping 18 degrees, Zandvoort remains a proper challenging driver's track. And as a reminder, we are also back with a sprint weekend, so lots of sessions, lots of weather around, and that has been a theme of Zandvoort in our time here. For Friday sprint quali, showers in the morning, then partly cloudy in the afternoon, a high of 67, so on the cool side here. Winds out of the north-northwest at 10 to 15, a 50% chance of rain. For Saturday, which is your sprint and your Grand Prix quali day, showers early and then mostly sunny conditions later in the day, a high of 66. Winds out of the north-northwest at 10 to 15, 60% chance of rain for Saturday. Sunday looks to be drier, sunshine and clouds mixed, a high of 67. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. And as always, with the Circuit Zandvoort, the rain can pop up quickly, come out of nowhere. You're right on the corner of the sea. So you could be looking at sunshine, and 5 minutes later, it could be a downpour. Kind of like the weather in Chicago. How you doing?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm looking at the race weather, and it's like, oh, it should be pretty nice. I'm like, yeah, it's right on the ocean. Like, that could change in a moment.
All right. So, yeah, definitely got to keep your eyes to the sky this weekend. We have not had proper wet weather running in the 2026 regulations. This could be a golden opportunity to finally have some, and we will have to see how those teams react to all of that. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We will re-rack. We'll come on back. We're going to tell you what we think is going to happen as the Dutch GP kicks off the second half of the season. Come on back. You will not want to miss it.
You are listening to the Outlap F1 podcast, and we'll be right back after this quick pit stop. Grab your flu powder, broomstick, or apparate to your favorite audio streaming service to join the discussion on Hogwarts, a podcast, where Dan and his friends have in-depth chapter-by-chapter breakdowns of each Harry Potter novel. Join the group as they dive into the magical world and discuss plot points, analyze character development, and occasionally go off the rails. Whether you're a muggle who's new to the series or a pure-blood wizard who won't need a remember-all, Hogwarts, a podcast, brings everyone to the Great Hall for a magical discussion. Hogwarts, a podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Season 8, Episode number 19 of the Outlap F1 podcast. It's our 2026 Dutch GP preview. We got Andy, I'm along with Cody, and we are celebrating the fact that we have survived the summer break. And survived is kind of appropriate. The crazy freaking weather in this part of the country has continued. And, yeah. I'm over storms. I'm over thunder. I'm over lightning. I'm ready for snow. Not really.
No, man, it would take quite a few more storms for me to be like looking forward to snow. I'm not a snow guy. But
Okay.
as far as summer break goes, at least this year too, we don't have to deal with second summer break like we did last year.
That's very true. That's very true. The schedule now will make sense. If anything, it's gotten additions to it. So parts of it that we thought were going to have a break. These races are going to come at us thick and fast. Stay also tuned to potential calendar adjustments as we get closer to the end of the season, based on, of course, what happens with world events. That is something we will monitor and get out to you guys as soon as we know anything. All right. Well, time to focus on this weekend. The Dutch GP is upon us, and it is time for our predictions. What do we think is going to happen over this weekend? We shall start, as we are apt to do, with the pole sitter. Last year's pole sitter was Oscar Piastri in the McLaren, who set that track record. Cody, who do you got taking the pole for one of the last times before a little bit of a break before Zandvoort comes back? Who's going to take it?
Right now, I'm being realistic, and Kimi Antonelli has been so far the dominant driver this season. Yeah, he's only won one out of the last 5 races, but I would not say that's based entirely on his performance. He's performed very well. He's gotten some nice pole positions, and I think he's primed to get another pole position here. Despite the fact McLaren won the last race, I'm not quite ready to say Mercedes has big challengers. So I think Antonelli is the safe bet for pole, but I like your prediction better.
Well, I am going to go. I'm not going Homer. I'm going with what I legit think may happen just because of the atmosphere, the crowd. Y'all know who they're cheering for. His car has gotten better. He got really close in the last couple races to that pole position. He's going to be a factor. Max Verstappen, if he's going to do one, I think this is his occasion to take one. The crowd will go nuts. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Max Verstappen, buoyed by the home field advantage, takes pole position. We shall see. All right.
If he gets pole position, I'm going to need to go buy an orange smoke bomb.
Yeah, if you're doing that on the thing on Sunday, man, that would be some content right there, man. But anyway, I don't want to give you any bad ideas. We probably shouldn't do that. But anyway, the qualifying pole lap time last year was set by Oscar Piastri, as we mentioned, 108.662. Do we think we're going to come close to that? It is a circuit that will be energy rich. At least that's my guess. So what do we think on lap times? Cody, what you got?
It is supposed to be a pretty energy rich circuit, but even still, I think these cars are still going to be quite a bit slower than what we were seeing last year, which was the peak of the last set of regulations in terms of lap time. So I'm going roughly 2 seconds slower than last year. Just kind of taking a shot in the dark after coming back here. I'm going with a 1 minute 10.727 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, this one is actually going to be really hard because with that weather forecast, I don't know. Like, our predictions could be off by like 7-8 seconds especially if it's pouring rain when Q3 rolls around. That having been said, I'm going to go slower than you. I'm going to assume that it's going to be dry, but if it's like drying track, it could be even slower than this. I'm going to go a little slower than you. Well, 1:11:057 for my lap time there. All right. Who do we think takes the Dutch GP 2025? It was Oscar Piastri, followed by Max Verstappen. And let's not forget, Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bull did get his first podium in Formula One last year. All right, Cody, what you got for your race result? Who's taking it?
I do have Antonelli converting his pole that I'm predicting into a predicted win. I do think McLaren is still going to look really good, though, and supposedly they are bringing even more upgrades for this race. So I think they will do well here. Lando Norris has historically done very well at this track, so I think he's a good pick for P2. And then even if he doesn't get the win, which I really, really hope that he would, I do think Max will have the pace and the home field advantage behind him enough to wrap up the podium at third.
All right, very good. I am really hoping we get to see that McLaren Flexi Wing this weekend. Finally, at long last, let's get it on the car and let's run it and let's hope that baby works along with whatever else you're bringing. I do think that I'm going to ride the momentum. Let's say, okay, they finished really well in Hungary. Let's hope that this continues. I think this is a track that'll suit them. I will take Lando Norris to take the win. Notice I am wearing my new number one. We are champion versus champion podcast tonight. That having been said, Max Verstappen isn't going anywhere, especially if I've got him taking pole. So I've got him coming home in P2. And Kimi Antonelli, even his bad days are not bad days this season, which as much as I want to say, oh, well, let's try to see if we can get in a championship fight, he's got to get something really bad's got to happen to him in order to make that happen. And I don't see that happening here. I've got him coming home in P3 on the podium. Bad day, but still a podium. That's what I got. All right. So who do we think is going to be the fastest driver and the fastest lap time during the race? The 2025 fastest lap time was set by Oscar Piastri, a 1:12.271. I'll go first with this one. I notice who none of us have mentioned, and oh, by the way, I think they're also supposed to bring some updates this weekend too. Do Ferrari actually hit back and get back into this thing, and potentially, create some additional? There's only 3 positions on the podium. Somebody's got to get it, and somebody's got to be off of it. It could be any one of potentially 6 drivers, the way that I legit look at it. I know I don't have any Ferraris on the podium. That could easily happen, and we could be very wrong there. So I'm going to try to hedge a little bit. I'm going to take Lewis Hamilton to get the fastest lap, and I'm going to go with a 1:14.987 for a lap time. Cody, what you got?
I'm taking a different approach to my predictions. I'm throwing Kimi Antonelli at everything and hoping that one of them will at least stick. So I did pick Kimi Antonelli for the fastest lap driver, and I got him doing it with a 1 minute 14.665 seconds. So just a little faster than you.
All right, very good. And so now we move on to bonus picks. We have selected P5 and P7 and P18. So a good smattering across the grid here. Who do we think is going to finish in those positions? I'll go first here. I got to put a Ferrari somewhere, so I'm going to put Charles Leclerc here in P5. I'm going to say Liam Lawson does a really good showing for Red Bull this weekend. He wants to prove that he still belongs. This is his shot to do it. I think that's as good of an opportunity as he's going to have. So I'm going to say P7 for him, and that would be a really good day in my view. P18, I hate to put this team down here. I know they always like to punch above their weight, but Haas just is not developing as much as anybody else, and I haven't heard any big plans for updates as yet. Until I do, they're going to be kind of with the caddies in the back. I do think the Aston Martins will pass them this weekend because the Honda update is coming. That's another thing to keep your eye on this weekend is what do Honda and Aston Martin do? So I'm going to put Esteban Ocon back here in P18. Cody, what you got?
All right. I maybe have some unpopular choices for 5th and 7th place. I've got Oscar Piastri in 5th place. And like I said, I don't really think it's because he's going to be bad per se. It's just there's a lot of competition at the front, and we're not really sure who's going to exactly be the best here. So I got Piastri in 5th. I've got Hamilton down in 7th. I'm not convinced that Ferrari's going to be particularly good here. And if they are bringing upgrades, Ferrari does seem to have a bad habit of like bringing upgrades and not figuring them out right away, it seems. And then they end up actually
and a sprint
going
weekend.
slower.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I've got Hamilton down in 7th, and then I actually agree with you for 18th. I've got Esteban Ocon. It's a combination of Haas doing what Haas seems to always do lately, where they start off the season pretty strong and gradually fall behind because they're not spending a lot on upgrades. And Ocon has seemed to struggle a bit in Haas, especially this year. And yeah, I don't have that confidence in him going into this weekend.
All right, very good. And for our prop bet, Cody, you picked this one. I like this one. Who will finish the highest between Lawson, Lindblad, and Sonoda? You know what? I just realized my law firm got broken up this weekend.
I did.
Yeah, I can't use it anymore, at least not for this weekend. All right, Cody, who's going to take it amongst those three very hungry drivers? You have to think.
I've got it going to Liam Lawson. I do like Lawson, and he has so far, to be expected, outperformed Lindblad, at least in the races throughout this season. And Lindblad's new, so you expect that. He's going to the Red Bull car, which, yes, he is not as familiar with, for sure, but it is, as we've at least seen in the hands of both drivers really this year. It is the faster car. So I think he's going to have that edge. So long as he doesn't put it into the wall at some point, I think he'll come out on top.
All right. Well, I saw your pick of Lawson, and I said, no, that one makes sense for a lot of reasons. but I'm going to just go in a different direction to basically go in a different direction on this one. And I'm going to take Arvid Lindblad because I think if there's anybody who's going to be Lawson's like foil in life at Red Bull now, it's going to be him. Just and not to mention last year Isaac Hadjar got on the podium. So Racing Bulls have a book on this track and can make that car relatively competitive. Now, obviously, it's a new rule set. Maybe they have to throw that entire book out. But I think going into the weekend, I think that's a pick that may make sense and may get me an extra point here. All right. So before we hop on out, when and where can you watch your F1 this weekend? Of course, if you are in the USA, your choices are Apple TV or F1 TV. If you link your Apple TV subscription to F1 TV, you can do both. I highly, highly recommend that you do that because you can do watch your onboards. Apple TV stays pretty much in line with that, and it works relatively well. You can also get the Sky feed if you want your David Croft commentary with Martin Brundle and those guys. You can get your F1 TV broadcast if you like the Alex Jakes and that crew, their takes on it as well. And that I think is in full universal HD. So if you want the better picture quality, do that. Hook yourself up, put it on the big screen, and wake all your neighbors up on Sunday morning because this one's going to be early. FP1 kicks off Friday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Have a cup of coffee, watch your F1, and let's see what the first practice gives. Sprint qualifying Friday will happen 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Sprint Saturday kicks off with the sprint on Saturday, 6 a.m. Eastern. So set those alarm clocks, especially here, 5 a.m. wake-up call for the sprint. Qualifying for the Grand Prix kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern, and the race kicks off standard European time here, 9 a.m. Eastern. Breakfast and Formula One. It's a winning combination. Buy us a coffee, dang it, because we need it this weekend. Woo!
Yeah, God, I was so excited for this race, and then you started reading out the times, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It's still in Europe.
Yep. Well, the best part is the post F1 race nap that comes in as usually I'm watching, if I happen to be still up, Ted's Notebook. As long as there's not any post-race drama or investigations or thing, that F1, post-F1 nap, that's living, baby, right there. But anyway, we will be back, hopefully on Sunday, to recap everything. That's probably what we'll do. But yeah, the second half of the season is upon us. We have traversed the summer break, and we have come out on the other side. So we're going to get right into our Formula One. Yeah, because it's this weekend, and then we're going to have, I think, isn't Monza the next weekend and back-to-back, right?
It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from Sunday.
And then they come thick and fast. I know, like after Monza, it starts to go real fast because we've got and then there's Singapore, and then there's Malaysia, and there's the Bahrain in Malaysia, and then there's the U.S. Grand Prix coming up at Coda, and a whole lot of other things. So we are all excited for the second half of the season. Do we get a legit drivers' championship fight? Do certain people move up or down in the constructors? What do Aston Martin do? Who knows? We're going to find out this weekend. So come back this weekend. You will not want to miss it. So for Cody, it's been Andy. Stay safe out there. It's been a crazy world. I don't think that's stopping anytime soon. But as always, may all your laps be fast.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Outlap F1 podcast. If you like what you heard, click that subscribe button and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. If you want to connect with us outside of the show, check out our website at www.outlapf1.com. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at OutlapF1 Podcast, or email us at chatnow@outlapf1.com. As always, thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you on the next one.